Relaxing watercolor art with Ms. Boley. We are doing this so that we can practice creating emphasis in our work to lead the viewer's eye around the page. We're also going to be adding unifying elements like transitions of color, tone, and texture to our artwork. It's also fun. We're going to be using visual journal or watercolor paper, some watercolors, and of course a brush and water, and a Sharpie and some other outliner, maybe a ballpoint pen or a fine tip Sharpie, and also some plastic wrap to create that saran wrap texture. If you don't have access to watercolors, you can always try using markers and water. You may need to use a brush to brush the water on top of the markers. So you can experiment with that method and those materials if you like. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my whole entire paper using water. So I'm going to try to work quickly so that the water doesn't dry as I'm going. You may want to use a larger brush for this. And then I'm going to use my water to wake up the watercolors, and I'm just going to fill the wet area with some watercolor. This actually works a little bit better with watercolor paper, but as you can see, it does still work on my visual journal. So the water that I painted on is causing my colors to mix together. I'm also being careful not to put complementary colors together, so like orange and blue, or red and green, or purple and yellow beside each other, because when those colors mix together, they create brown, and I want my colors to be really vibrant. So you can make those choices for your own art when you are trying this out. So now I'm just making sure that the watercolor is on very thick. I'm adding it all over because when I press the saran wrap down, the paint needs to be quite wet and thick on the paper. So now I'm going to press that saran wrap sheet down onto my page, and I'm going to leave it alone for about 45 minutes. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to use my thicker Sharpie for this part, and I'm going to kind of take a second to look at the page and see sort of where my eye goes, and just notice some of those little angles and those little sections that were created by that saran wrap. And what I'm doing now is I'm just outlining certain sections of the saran wrap areas, and yeah, I'm kind of just outlining around the ones that I am deciding to outline around. So I am not doing every single one because there are so many, but I'm just sort of choosing some of the larger ones as they stand out to me. So I'm kind of choosing where I want to emphasize and outlining the things that my eye picks out. So I'm going to go and do that for the whole page, and then I'm going to use a fine tip Sharpie, or if you don't have one, just a thinner point, so maybe a ballpoint pen or even a pencil crayon, be a little bit slightly thinner than a Sharpie, to just do some little fine detail work and some of those lighter lines that showed up from my saran wrap. We can zoom in here and see what I mean. So I'm just outlining around any of those like lines that were created by the water being trapped under the saran wrap. This is very relaxing because you don't have to make any decisions. You just look at the page and it kind of decides for you. So you're just sort of outlining around all of the shapes that you're seeing. Now, don't forget, you don't have to do every single outline because that would take forever. We do have to sort of select and edit the ones that stand out to us the most. And that's my final product. I hope you enjoy this. I can't wait to see your work. Thanks for watching.